The station playing good time rock and roll from the Tower of Power, cruising 98.3 WSVZ.
WTIM. Good morning, Central Illinois, and welcome to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and for this first conversation here, we're talking about National Dairy Month. It's the time to highlight all the dairy foods we know and love and to celebrate dairy farmers and all their hard work in making said dairy happen. And we're going to talk about all of that this morning with Megan Modrusik, a nutrition educator with the St. Louis District Dairy Council. And Megan is making her debut on the WTIM Morning Show, taking the reins from Monica Nyman. And we appreciate Monica's work, and I'm sure we'll do the same as well for Megan. Megan, thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and you're getting your early lickings of your chops with radio, so you'll get a little more experience here, and looking forward to that, and learning a little more about dairy as well. Again, I said June National Dairy Month, and it's been celebrated for many years. Just talk a little bit about its early goings, why it was established, how it sort of helps raise awareness about dairy foods and their importance.
Yeah, absolutely. So the National Dairy Council has actually been celebrating National Dairy Month since 1939. And we really just love to use this month to, recognize the consumption of milk and promote the consumption of milk. We want to recognize all dairy foods and, of course, honor the contributions of our dairy farmers. We obviously want to support our dairy industry and celebrate that hard work that the dairy farmers do every single day. They provide us fresh and nutritious milk to the entire country, right? But also we want to talk about the nutritional benefits and really highlight those and, remind ourselves that we should be consuming that 3 servings of dairy every single day. And if you're unsure what a serving of dairy is, it's something like a cup of milk or a cup of yogurt or 1.5 ounces of cheese. And these can be, used in meals, used as snacks, however you like to enjoy dairy.
All right. So a lot of different ways to enjoy that. And we'll, I'm sure, get into a little of all of those things as we go about the conversation today. One interesting question I thought about, it's National Dairy Month here in June. Why did they pick June as opposed to any other month?
Well, originally, I think that it was the slow month in dairy sales. And so they wanted to have this month to, boost sales and make sure that people were still drinking dairy around this time. And then it evolved as the National Dairy Council kind of took hold of it to be more of a recognition month and to, promote all of the aspects of dairy as opposed to just the sales, right?
Yeah. No, that's a an interesting way to look at it. I've never really thought about June being much of a slowdown. I wonder if maybe, I don't know, maybe other foods just got more attention or what, yeah. But no, that's interesting. And something I thought about just now. So as for the dairy itself, you mentioned milk, and I know that's a big part of the dairy intake for a lot of people. Talk about how milk supports the health of those who consume it.
Yeah, milk is super important. And around our office, we have been, joking about how milk is the whole package with the emphasis on whole, because this year really is the year for whole milk, I feel. But however you like your milk, if you like whole milk or 2% or skim or chocolate, however you like your milk, you are going to get 13 essential nutrients across the board from every milk. And those nutrients are going to be things like calcium. I'm sure we all think about calcium when we think of milk. Great for our bones, building our bones when we're young, keeping our bones strong as we age. And then vitamin D also supports that. It helps our body absorb the calcium. And phosphorus kind of goes along with that. Phosphorus helps our teeth and our teeth strength. So all of those together are really great. But on top of that, there's so many more nutrients like our B vitamins that help us. We have 4 B vitamins in milk that help us convert our food into energy. We've got potassium to help our heartbeat. We have vitamin A, great for our eyes. We have protein. I mean, you're getting 8 grams of quality protein in every cup of milk. And when I say quality protein, I just mean that, it offers 9 essential amino acids. All animal products like proteins are quality proteins. Protein's super important. It's the building block of all of our cells. So having quality protein in our diet is super important. And on top of it, zinc, selenium, iodine, all of these things are super important to our bodies and our body's health. And so as we drink, 1 cup of milk, we are getting all of these great benefits from every cup.
Yeah, so just a lot of benefits, it sounds like, from milk and all of that in one cup of milk. And that's worth noting there as well. So that's milk. And then in terms of cheese and yogurt, talk about how they add to the nutrition of meals in which they go.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a special one. So all of the products, yogurt and cheese, if they're made from milk, they're going to have these great nutrients in them. And so yogurt is super important because it has a beneficial bacteria added to it. It makes it a fermented food. And that good bacteria really helps promote digestion. And if you weren't aware, a lot of our immune system, it lives within our gut. And so when we have a healthy gut, we have a healthier overall body. And so getting yogurt and getting those fermented foods is super important to our digestion, our overall health, like that. And like I said, amazing nutrients in it, great protein. A cup of yogurt has about 12 grams of protein, but then when you go to Greek yogurt, you can get up to 22 grams of protein. So yogurt is just one of those special foods. And cheese is also super special. Cheese is one of my favorites for sure. I love cheese. I love adding it to foods and, eating it on its own. And cheese, again, has all those amazing nutrients in it, protein, calcium, phosphorus, all those great things, but is also really good for our teeth health. And cheese can help, balance the pH levels in our mouth. It can help protect against cavities. If we are eating, sticky foods, cheese can actually help clean off our teeth after eating those sticky foods. And so it's not sitting on your teeth all day. Cheese is super interesting. And I know that cottage cheese has actually kind of been a trend recently. And cottage cheese, again, talking about the nutrients, has actually 25 grams of protein in every cup of cottage cheese. So again, there's just so many benefits that we can get from our dairy foods. And overall, the dairy foods that we eat as Americans provide about 52% of the calcium, 51% of the vitamin D, and 17% of the protein that we are getting throughout our days and our lives.
Did not know that about cheese and cleaning teeth. I might have to add on even more cheese right before I go to the dentist next time. So really good to know there. So we've talked about milk, cheese, and yogurt, 3 different dairy items. And you've mentioned as well, as I've heard plenty of times before, 3 servings of dairy a day is the recommended amount. Where did that amount come from?
So every single year, or every single 5 years, a new dietary guidelines for Americans is released. This is from the USDA, and this just kind of helps guide our diets to make sure that Americans are staying, on a diet that is supporting their nutrition. And these guidelines also support a lot of federal programming, like our schools and our WIC programs and our, elderly programs, things like that. And so every 5 years, a new one is released. And this year, they released one, and it is pretty similar to what we've been seeing in the past, 3 servings a day based on a 2,000 calorie diet pattern, which is what most Americans are on. But the latest difference is that there is an allowance for full fat dairy with no added sugar, and that's things like whole milk or 2% milk. And that just gives people more options when they are building their plate or in the dairy aisle, just giving you more options to get that 3 servings a day. And like I said, a lot of programs are, follow these USDA guidelines. So our schools, the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act of 2025 was passed this year, and that really recognizes the nutritional, package of milk. And so all schools are now able to serve whole milk and reduced fat milk, 2% milk, in addition to the 1% and the low fat milk that we have been having in our schools. And so they're just hoping that this can give, students more options when it comes to their milk choices in the school day.
Going on that whole milk thing, I know recommendations and findings, certainly change over the years as you've described. I've been told in the past that whole milk is something to avoid compared to other reduced fat kinds of milk. And of course, now here, as you mentioned, they sort of expanded the allowances to allow for whole milk, to be served in schools. What gives with all of that?
I think what the thing is we like to say at the Dairy Council, whatever milk you choose to drink is the healthiest milk. So if you like whole milk and you don't like skim milk, and we're telling you can only drink skim milk, well, you're probably not going to drink any milk then because you don't like skim milk. But now that the options are wider and we can say, drink all the milk, because again, all those 13 essential nutrients are in every single kind of milk. So if you like whole milk and you're going to drink it, then that's the better option for you. It does have more saturated fat and it does have more calories, but as you form your patterns, your dietary patterns, that can be okay. You can work that into your life. Just, if it's going to make you drink more milk, I think that's the pro.
Yeah, there you go. In terms of that recommendation there, Megan Modricek from the St. Louis District Dairy Council is speaking with us this morning. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about sort of how to combine dairy with other foods, and I'm sure plenty of other very useful topics in this National Dairy Month, which is the month of June. And all of that and more will be coming up right here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
Hello, I'm Will Perkins, the new owner of Taylorville Home Source. I'm committed to continuing the local service you've always counted on, along with the same great flooring options, kitchen cabinets, shower systems, and design expertise that Taylorville Home Source is known for. Stop by 1316 East Park, online at TaylorvilleHomesource.com, or via phone at 217-824-6121. Taylorville Home Source, your one source local design center.
Don't let summer weather get in the way of your summer fun. Here's Dr. Pavi Gill with Springfield Clinic, Taylorville.
Once the weather warms up, it's more important than ever to practice sun safety. The providers at Springfield Clinic, Taylorville recommend that if you're out in the sun, you drink water throughout the day and wear sunscreen, hats, and UPF clothing.
But if you need care, whether for a routine checkup or a vacation bug this summer, call Springfield Clinic Taylorville at 217-287-8855 to schedule an appointment.
Your locally owned Scooters Coffee at routes 29 and 104 in Taylorville are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Give Back promotion. Scooters Coffee will donate the following to the Taylorville Sports Boosters. For each Tornado varsity football touchdown, they're donating $10. For each three-point shot in varsity Tornado boys and girls basketball games, they're donating $3. And $5 for each home run scored by varsity baseball and softball team. The 22 local Scooters Coffee Taylorville, thank you for your business. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast.
Brandy Bruley here, Superintendent of Taylorville, inviting you to find out the great things happening in our district. Tune in on air or online to the WTIM Morning Show the first Thursday of the month at 8:40 when we present our monthly Good News segment. From academics to the arts to athletics and more, we'll focus on how we achieve student success every month. Tune in on air or online when the WTIM Morning Show presents the Taylorville School District Good News segment the first Thursday of each month at 8:40. And go Tornadoes.
Get ready for the Hart Media Group Summer Scramble. Join us on June 26th for a day of fun on the course. Don't wait. Spots are limited. Register your team today at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Thanks to our wonderful sponsors, especially Shelby Fiber, connecting you faster. We'll see you there.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. Find out about all the products and services we provide by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
At Taylorville Estates Assisted Living, life feels lighter. With helping hands always nearby and activities that bring people together, every day offers comfort and connection. From shared meals to shared moments, it's a place that feels like family. Discover the joy waiting at Taylorville Estates Assisted Living. Click their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station, and the show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and I continue my conversation with Megan Modricek, a nutrition educator with the St. Louis District Dairy Council, and we've been talking all things dairy in this conversation, which I suppose makes sense for the St. Louis District Dairy Council, but also because June is National Dairy Month. So We talked about the building blocks of dairy and the elements of milk, cheese, and yogurt. Now I want to get into how it can be combined with other foods. Megan, just overall talk a little bit about kind of the versatility of these sort of basic dairy products and how they kind of fit in with other meals.
Yeah, adding dairy to meals and making it part of your, getting those 3 servings a day can be tough. But as you remember that you can add dairy to things that you're already creating. So if you're making pancakes and you want to add water, consider adding milk. And not only are you going to get a creamier, richer product, you're also going to add a bunch of nutrients to your meal as well. When you're making casseroles, you can add cheese. You can swap Greek yogurt for a lot of things. I like to swap Greek yogurt for things that I use sour cream. If I'm making a dip or something like that, I like to swap in Greek yogurt. And as you do that, right, you're adding a bunch of nutrients. And when you pair things like fruits and vegetables and whole grains to your dairy, you are adding a lot of fiber to that meal. And fiber is essential for gut health, and that is so important. And a lot of most Americans don't consume enough fiber on a regular basis. So adding those things and adding different food groups can really help, improve the nutrition of your meals.
Yeah, and you mentioned fiber as well. That's an important thing, just kind of helping the insides function, and that is an important thing as well. So yeah, that's how to or some ways to combine dairy with those other meals. In terms of how dairy foods come about, and I know dairy farmers are a big part of it. Talk a little bit about kind of what that's like for the farmers and how much of it they have to do really to get the amount of dairy that is available on our shelves.
Yes. And so especially with June Dairy Month, we wouldn't have National Dairy Month. We wouldn't have dairy if it wasn't for the farmers and all of their hard work. Majority of our farmers in Illinois and Missouri are family-owned farms. And these families take so much pride in what they do. They are usually multi-generational farms, and they work every single day, whether it's raining or snowing or a holiday, they are working every day. The cows have to be milked at least 2 times a day, every single day. And so these farmers work very hard. They put so much pride into their work, and we are so thankful for all the hard work that they do to be able to give us all this delicious dairy.
Yes, that farming work is important indeed, and we're certainly thankful for that as well. In terms of where the more farming rich areas are, I know Vermont and Wisconsin are 2 big states, and I know that because I used to live there. Any other dairy farming rich states in America?
I am not sure. I know that Central Illinois is full of farms. We have tons of farms that we visit in Central Illinois all the time. But yeah, dairy farming, it's becoming far and few. So the farms that we have, we are so grateful for.
Yes, indeed. Very grateful for them. And I certainly know that, again, coming from the states I mentioned, and as an avid consumer of dairy. I want to talk a little bit about this month's recipe of the month. You folks at the Dairy Council have a recipe of the month, watermelon whip. We've got about 90 seconds left in the show. Talk a little bit about this recipe.
Yeah, this recipe is so great. It's essentially a smoothie. It's great. It's refreshing, perfect for these hot summer days. You are adding frozen watermelon, frozen berries, Greek yogurt, milk, honey, lemon juice, all these great things to make this delicious, frosty, refreshing drink. If you're interested in the recipe, you can find it on stldairycouncil.org. We have a website with lots of great recipes and lots of great resources. And as well, we have a Facebook and an Instagram that we're always updating, and that's STL Dairy Council.
All right, so you've got the contact information there. Just having a quick look at the recipes. We're into the final minute here. Sounds like you're supposed to lightly freeze watermelon. So how does that work? Do you cut it up and then just put it in the freezer for 2 hours? What's that process like?
Yeah, so if you have leftover watermelon, I know I always have leftover watermelon when I buy a big one. You can cut it up into cubes. You can put it on parchment paper, and yes, put it in the freezer for about 2 hours. You don't want it to freeze completely because your blender can struggle if you're, dealing with completely frozen solid things. So 2 hours is a great way for your blender to be able to blend everything up nice and easily.
Okay, so 2 hours, and I'll have to try this out because it seems like an appealing recipe, and then you've got the fruits in there and everything else as well. Megan Modrusik, nutrition educator with the St. Louis District Dairy Council. Megan, thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
Happy Dairy Month, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for listening to the WTIM Morning Show.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville. 96.1 FM Taylorville. 107.5 FM Shelbyville. 107.9 FM Pena Nokomis.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. Consumer prices soared last month. The latest government inflation report confirms it. Inflation hitting a 3-year high, according to the Department of Labor. Social media this morning, President Trump writing that Iran is taking too long to negotiate a deal, adding that now they will have to pay the price. The warning comes after U.S. air power blasted Iranian military assets.
The United States has launched strikes against Iranian targets after President Trump said Iran shot down an American Apache helicopter